So, I have recently talked about in my video that you can get 100k more if you have Nefer, and you can get it multiple times here. So, you just come over here, if you can open this door, you come in, and then you see, like, the open and take a look. Normally, you know, what would happen is that you'd have Nefer. I accidentally did it today, and I realized, yeah, I did kind of want to make a video on it. So, what this is the future of Genshin Impact. We'll see how far this gets taken, whether Nefer will actually be able to do this infinitely, but for the sake of this video, let's assume she can. Let's assume she can get 100k mora. From what I've heard, it's 3 times a week. You know, whatever. Let's assume that's what the case is. What if they start doing this for other characters? Will this be a good change, or will it inevitably be just another way to sell characters that, you know, people don't like? I think overall, this is a good change. If they start to do this, then that'll just make people who are veterans easier to sort of play, and it's easier, right? The main thing that veterans do, I would say, in this game is they farm artifacts. But lately, we've been getting more and more characters. Even as someone who, you know, buys the battle pass, I really don't have many options in terms of, you know, building characters. My Aino has not, you know, I haven't wanted to build this character for a while, and I spent 30 fragile resin, and right now my artifacts for this new set are pretty bad, right? So the artifact rates feel lower, honestly, flat out, they do. Compared to obsidian, these artifacts are so much lower in terms of getting the rolls that I need and, you know, doing what I need to. You know, don't know whether I'm feeling the effects of this more because I don't have good sets right now, but I would say, like, absolutely, you know, if this does end up being a change that they do, and, you know, Flynn's, Flynn's doesn't really have one, right? So, you know, that's what brings me to, like, okay, they probably won't do this for every character, right? They probably won't. As far as I know, Flynn's doesn't have a special interaction like that, but Nefer does, right? And it's possible that we see, you know, new characters inevitably come out with sort of similar ideas. What I was thinking, you know, initially when they revealed, or when I saw that this was a thing, I was like, oh, what if they did that for books, right? Like, if they did that for level up books, man, that would be good, you know? So if they just do it for mora and level up books, maybe even weapon enhancement material, right? Maybe, you know, not this. Hold on, let me find a level 1 weapon. So, like, weapon enhancement materials, you know, like your mystical ores, right? Mystic enhancement ores. What if they did it for that? If they did it for that, that would be pretty sick, right? Even, you know, whether it's not really something that we need to farm, it would still be a benefit to having a new 5-star character, which I think is good. I think right now, when you get a 5-star character, the animations are really good. And that's kind of really what sells these characters right now. But now, you know, especially since now we've gotten characters that are like 10% chance to receive double the product on weapon materials, we've gotten 4-star versions of that. So it's not really a major issue for me, right? So, like, it's not really, you know, all of the passive talents, a lot of them have just begun to be like, oh yeah, you know, in Nordkrai they do extra stuff, and, like, you know, sending this character on an expedition. This is just, it's not enough, right? It's 25% more, you know, rewards when you go on an expedition. It just isn't enough, right? Like, I can't be the only one who thinks that, right? Like, this is just, comparatively to everything else in the game, these abilities are the one thing that have not been power crafted. These special abilities. However, I think we are starting to maybe see something like that where it could possibly power creep it, which I think is generally a good idea. I think now what we're really looking at is in-game. I think this is what Genshin Impact in-game is. You know, I have not really talked too much, well, I've talked a bit about it, but I really don't see that, like, Stygian gets usurped anytime soon. I really do think Stygian is their in-game. I think when we talk about, oh yeah, what's the hardest content in Genshin Impact? It's Stygian, by far. You can call it shill Stygian, whatever, but it is the hardest content. Most people can't beat it, right? Or, you know, not most people can't beat it, but most people, you know, have trouble beating it. Whereas Abyss is quite a lot easier than Stygian. And Abyss, you know, was consistently easier and easier, you know, the more that you built up your account and stuff. and overall not really a huge thing. But, let's say, we have Abyss, light, easy mode Stygian, sure. We can call it in-game if you want to. I wouldn't call you insane for calling this, in-game content, right? Because you do need 2 teams, you do need 2 full-fledged out teams, and then obviously I would absolutely, just because the amount of characters that you need, Imaginarium Theater is in-game content. There's no doubt about that. So we now have 3 sort of layers of in-game content. So perhaps, Genshin is now more in tune with saying, okay, guys, you need to raise your characters. We get it. Let's just go ahead and reward people. Like, we're not going to start, buffing things for free. But hey, if you do get our characters, we'll start giving you extra bonus reward, right? And I think that's fine, right? Because think about it. The more this goes on, right? Nefer right now, 300k more weekly, maybe 100k more daily. We'll find out later. But it'll go on, and we'll see that Nefer is like, oh yeah, I've got like, a whole bunch of, I'm gaining you a whole bunch of mora, right? And then the next character comes along, and they can gain you a whole bunch of mora. So it's not even limited to just the character that you summon on, possibly, if they do decide to go through with this. Who knows? Alice could literally give you books, talent books, right? Talent books would be a stretch. I don't, like, right now it's mora. That is, I'm be honest, these guys, the ley lines are probably the least fun, least useful, least, like content that I care about, right? I go into a domain, I'm teleporting directly to the domain. Whereas if you're doing a ley line, you have to teleport and then you have to walk over to the ley line. Nobody really wants to do that, right? And when it comes to these games, when they start to get as old as Genshin is, because again, 5 years at this point, right? We are not in 1.0 anymore. When they start to get as old as Genshin is, they start to introduce updates that are like, oh yeah, we would have never done this in the past. Now we're doing it, right? And what I think this update is to sort of make these ley lines obsolete, possibly. I hope so. I hope they do want to do that, but we'll see. It also does just reward people for spending on the characters, right? Or, whether it's spending Primogems or spending, money. And the thing is, they don't advertise these things, which is weird, right? They're not advertising these things. They just snuck it into Nefer's kit, which is a weird part about that, right? Like, they didn't advertise like, oh yeah, 100k mora. I would be completely down with them, starting to advertise these characters as in like, oh yeah, this character can, generate you 100k mora, or 300,000 mora weekly. I wouldn't be like opposed to it. Like, I wouldn't at all. I think really all this does is just give more value to newer characters, and I think that is just a good idea because, like, you summon for Venti, you summon for Nefer. What has changed, right? Obviously, Nefer's better, but in terms of the value that you're getting, Venti was insane back in the day, and Nefer's insane right now. So equivalent value, when they released, it's about the same. What's different is the animations, but Genshin can only improve the animations so much before it becomes an issue of like, the animation takes too long. If you're using a Nahida setup, her burst is useless and you don't use it. You see, like, these characters that they're making reliant on their E-skill a lot of the times, they don't make their burst good enough to be used. And if the burst isn't good enough to be used, that's development time wasted, right? So, like, they can only improve the burst animations and all these other animations so much. So to, bring it into another reason why you would summon on a newer character to increase sort of that level of quality, they've added certain things over time. What we really started to see was in Fontaine is when they started really being like, okay, we're going to up the character quality. Arlecchino's burst still holds up today, right? Nevi's burst still holds up today. Fiorina's burst, it's the weakest one, I think, of the, Fontaine region. Sadly, it is, I think, truly just weakest one, but I think the reason for that being is because they wanted it to be short because they know DPS heads. But man, they've really gone ahead. Like, Chloride is really good, right? A lot of these characters burst animations. I mean, you've seen Flynn's burst animation, so burst animations was a big thing for Fontaine. With Natlan, what I would say is the, benefit or the increase in quality is, one, they would go ahead and summon these sort of, you know, like things. Like they could either summon something, right? That would be their way. Or you can have like this glowing aura on your character when you're in Night Soul mode, and it looks really good, right? So you have that in terms of a quality increase. Beforehand, what was happening to the character models? They were staying the same. Like the character models were staying the same, whereas now we had interactive character models. So I have seen, you know, I've not mentioned, but I've seen the constant, like, sort of quality improvement over version of version. What have we seen lately? Not much, right? Really what we've seen is that Lauma has a special interaction with animals, right? That's, you know, now it seems more special interaction is the gimmick and the sort of theme with, you know, not Fontaine, Nudcry, right? Because Lauma, special interaction with animals. Is it this passive? No, this just looks like it. But this is a, you know, she'll go up to an animal and be like, oh, animal, please heal me. And then they heal. And then you have Flynn's who can, like, hear the wild hunt. And when you defeat a wild hunt, you know, enemy, you can go ahead and you get a little special cutscene. I think I've shown it before. You know, it's good. And then now with Nefer, I haven't seen, like, a specific interaction. However, you could consider this the interaction. And if this is what the interaction could be, what could we see for other interaction, right? Like, what could we see? Because it's a thing. Like, it's a genuine thing that, you know, Nodcry characters have interactions. And Nefa has, you know, an interaction with this big guy over here, right? If you go up to him, and Nefa and Aino can interact with him. So character interactions seem to be the way that they wanted to improve characters now. But now we're getting rewarded for the interaction, right? So if they choose to, like, look at this and say, oh yeah, this is a good thing that we should keep, which I think they should, this could be very positive, I would say, for the game. Very positive for people like me who get a lot of characters. Very positive for even the low spenders who, or not even low spenders, the people who just go ahead and, you know, free to play, summon on certain characters. That just means, oh, hey, I'm going to get new free resources because I summoned on my 5-star character. That's all that means. They really, really did, I think, you know, hit something here. And I do hope that they just legitimately, these things, make them a thing of the past. I do not care for these things. Nobody really does. They only do them so they can get them done with. Like, they only do them, you know, for the whole, you know, Battle Pass weekly mission, or the because you're low on mora. It's the only way to get mora. But right now, I think this is a better way to get mora. Flat out. I'd rather come to a chest every couple of days, get 300,000, you know, mora, and that's it, rather than do this, right? I'd rather do that, because this just is not cool. We could also do it with, like, you know, level up materials, like, oh, Flynn's is, you know, talking with dead people. Well, the dead people can give them, like, oh, here's like a Fatui insignia, right? You know, like, they can sort of do stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this mechanic further to the updates. I do hope that they add more things like Nefer's interaction here. I think that's just, it's overall just better. So I like this, you know, concept for, you know, upgrading characters. I hope that they do it more. So that's basically all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.